Good light right now.
Yeah, I know, I'm gonna use it. Get some shots of Adam doing his thing too for the behind the doc.
There was land on the edge of nowhere, and a voice on a glowing screen said, build it outside the system, said, this is what freedom means. They came with hope in their pockets, and stories they wanted to prove. A crowd could feel like a family when everyone believes the same truth. They called it the community, they called it a stand, but a vision gets heavy when it's held in one hand. Welcome to Beartaria, where dream meets the ground, where the words sound louder than the silence around. You don't see the fault lines till the camera rolls back. This ain't the promise they sold you, but it's the story after the ad. After what bears in the comments, there were rules without names. Loyalty felt like shelter till it started to feel the same. Every joke had a lesson, every line had a side. And if you laughed at the wrong moment, you were standing outside. Who decides what's betrayal? Who decides what's a test? When a movement calls itself truth, what happens to the rest? This is Beartaria. After the street fades out, after the leaf stays quiet and the believers sort it out. You don't leave with nothing, you don't leave unchanged. This ain't the myth they handed you, it's what remains.
All right, welcome to Not My Rabbit Hole tonight. When we talk about online movements, they usually focus on the personality at the center. But what happens to the people who document them? What happens when a filmmaker enters a community believing they're capturing a story and leaves realizing they were part of it? Today, we're talking to documentary filmmaker Adam Camacho about Beartaria, Owen Benjamin, and the bear subculture, and what happens after the cameras stop rolling. This is about canceling. This isn't about canceling. It's about understanding. When people talk about online movements, they usually focus on the personality at the center. But what happens to the people who document them? What happens when a filmmaker enters a community believing they're capturing a story and leaves realizing they were part of it? Today, we're talking to documentary filmmaker Adam Camacho about Beartaria, Owen Benjamin, and the bear subculture, and what happens after the cameras stop rolling. This isn't about canceling, it's about understanding. We'll be right back with Adam Camacho.
He ain't no Saint Germain, no crown, no name. He plays the game, sharp as a flame. Who's to blame for the stolen fame? A shadow dance in the devil's frame. Go in the rabbit hole, losing control, spinning wild on a stripper pole. Laughing loud, all for the love, but baby, that's not my rabbit hole. City lights and sirens scream, truth and lies blend like a dream. Wicked smiles, a clever scheme, chasing gold in the neon gleam. Go in the rabbit hole, losing control, spinning wild on the stripper pole. Laughing loud, all for the love, but baby, that's not my rabbit hole. Fast, can't find the ground. Echoes of chaos all around. You chose this dance, this mad parade, but not every choice gets accolades. Go in the rabbit hole, losing control, spinning wild on the stripper pole. Laughing loud, all for the love, but baby, that's not my rabbit hole. Laughing loud, all for the love, but baby, that's not my rabbit hole. City lights and sirens scream. Truth and lies blend like a dream. Wicked smiles, a clever scheme. Chasing gold in the neon gleam. Going down the rabbit hole, losing control. Spinning wild on the stripper pole. Laughing loud all for the lows. But baby, that's not my rabbit hole.
This channel, Not My Rabbit Hole, exists because the internet has a short memory, and complicated stories tend to get flattened into sides. Heroes and villains, grifters and truth tellers. But real life is messier than that. Today's episode is about one of those messy stories. Beartaria was presented as an experiment in community self-reliance and living outside of traditional systems. At the center of it was comedian and online personality Owen Benjamin, and around him, a devoted subculture that called themselves Bears. My guest today is Adam Camacho. He's a filmmaker who documented that world from the inside. His work captured not just the vision, but the tensions, the expectations, and ultimately the fallout. Since that documentary, the story hasn't ended. In fact, it's evolved through public apologies, online feuds, new documentaries, and renewed scrutiny of the people still shaping the narrative. This conversation isn't about telling you what to think. It's about media literacy. It's about power dynamics in online communities. And it's about responsibility. If any creators and documentarians have when belief systems turn into movements. So let's slow down, zoom out, and actually look at what happened from someone who was there. I'd like to welcome to the show, Adam Camacho. Thank you for being on Not My Rabbit Hole.
Hey, Terry, thanks for having me.
Yeah. So let's start with my first question to you is, how did you get caught up in this project? Like, how did you find Owen Benjamin, and why did you have an interest in doing this documentary?
Well, it all started around the Trump election. I was working in Hollywood. I was working on the TV show Veep, and I was listening a lot to Steven Crowder, and I was like, I was really into Trump, and if you're in Hollywood, and you don't bash Trump actively, like they start, treating you differently, and I didn't like that at all. And I was at the, I was on the set of Veep when, and listening to Steven Crowder when the election was happening. And like throughout the day, the people were getting stressed out, they started seeing the numbers. We even had to stop shooting. There were people crying. It was really intense, like when Trump won, and I found Owen from Steven Crowder, but I never really looked into his streams. I just knew I liked when he come on because he was funny, and compared to Steven, but
right.
So Steven would just dress up in wigs and have his make. I don't know. Just his.
Oh, I didn't know Steven wear wigs. He does.
Well, they dress up,
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I mean, I know. The reason why I say wig because I got my wig cut today.
Yeah, I know. Sorry, I didn't mean to trigger you with that word.
I know. Okay. Wig? Did you say wig? Okay.
Don't say wig.
Don't say wig, man. All right.
I know.
No, I'm good. I'm good. Really.
No. Well, and then so I found him, and then he was on Rogan because I used to listen to Rogan a lot.
Me too.
And then he was on Rogan. That's when I started to listen to his podcast. It was around the end of 17, and then into 18, but I would never listen live. I didn't really even know how to. I would listen to in mirror channels, or different places. And I didn't catch every stream, but I just thought he was funny because he was getting drunk and talking shit, and then he would say some pretty interesting stuff about conspiracies and stuff, and yeah, I started following there, and then COVID happened, you
Mm-hmm.
know. And when that happened, everything went insane. You know, it shut down. I was at the height of my career. I was working with the Coen brothers and Denzel Washington on a movie when they shut us down, and I just got really freaked out, and I moved out here to Riverside. I moved out, and I left the union, and because I wasn't going to get vaccinated, I wasn't going to get wear a mask, I wasn't going to get tested, and so yeah, there was the whole lockdown and stuff, and then they wanted to come back to bring me back when after the 6 months of the lockdown, but they wanted me to get tested 6 times a week for COVID.
Uh-huh.
And I was,
We I had to do that. Like when I went back to college,
yeah,
I didn't want to get the vaccination either.
mhm,
And so I had to be tested every week. I had to go spit in a thing and
yeah,
turn it in. Yeah,
yeah, I wouldn't do
every
it.
week.
You know, I'm a total conspiracy theorist, so like, I was, I thought they were trying to break your, your blood-brain barrier and whatever, or they're trying to plant a chip up there, whatever.
Right, I know. Yeah, the one of them was like a nose swab, and then the
Yeah,
other one was like and I did do the nose swab once, and I do remember that conspiracy.
yeah.
Um, and then after that, they go, "No, you can spit." And I'm like, "Yay, I'll spit all day," you know.
So I wouldn't do that. So I'm like, I called the producers and I was like, look, I said, even firemen only have to do like once a week, and first responders. I said, why do I have to do 6 times a week just to be next to Denzel Washington? I
Uh-huh.
just, I'm like, I'm not going to do it. And like I said, and also too, if it's so dangerous, why aren't we getting hazard pay, like time and a half? And that's when they were like, okay, we'll hire somebody else. I'm like, all right. So that's when like I was making videos and putting them on Facebook and YouTube of me going places with no mask and getting in fights and stuff. Not like physical fights, but a lot of like crazy altercations. And
Mhm.
I was posting them on the Unbearables Facebook group. On that was the Owen Benjamin Facebook group on Facebook. And Sam's soon to be handler, the other guy I'm suing, Sam Mitchell, found me in there, and he contacted me. He goes, "Hey, I like what you're doing. I'm thinking about doing a documentary for an influencer. Hit me up." So, and that was in around April. I think it was April of 2020. And I said, "Sure." We talked about it for a while, and then I realized it was going to be. He didn't tell me it's for Owen at first. And then I realized it was going to be for Owen, and it had to do with his land fund, and
Mhm.
so that's basically how I got connected.
Oh, that's interesting because so you weren't really like a bear or a follower. You knew of Owen, you knew what was going on, but somebody in between brought you into this project. Were you interested in homesteading or living off grid at the time of when you were asked to do the documentary?
Yeah, it was like because he was always showing it and talking about it, and it really piqued my interest, and I wanted to, but I just didn't have the funds. I didn't have the means. Didn't you got to have money, you got to have a land, and resources, and I couldn't do it, but I wanted to. Like it sounded like and especially after COVID, everybody was. I mean, I was totally freaked out. I'm like, when the toilet paper was gone, and you were having blackouts out here and stuff. I got freaked out, and I was like, I need to do this and get off grid, and just in case shit goes down, I got to learn all these skills, and so once I actually moved out to a like 4.5 acres that I live on now, like right before I filmed the documentary. So I was all about it.
Hmm. Well, if you look back at that time, I think a lot of people were feeling that way. I mean, we didn't know what to expect. We didn't know if it was ever going to end. We didn't know the balance of our jobs. A lot of people were realizing that there is a system and wanting to live out of the system. I also was one of those people. I didn't have land or anything like that, but I had bought a trailer and was wanting to
Hmm.
put solar panels and this and that on
Me
it.
too. So did
You
I.
know, getting ready to like, what if this happened? What if this happened? How would I survive? I was growing little microgreens and things like this, and taking pictures of it, and just thinking like, when I bought so much survival food, I bought too much. I didn't realize how much it was. Like, I have so much survival food right now that I feel like I could like probably take care of my family for a year.
Really? I bought some too from Alex Jones. I got like a big tub. It was like Patriot something. I think I still have it under my bed.
Yeah, I mean, I've got like a can under here. I've got some strawberry something, whatever. I've got black bean taco mix. I'm ready. I'm ready for the apocalypse, Adam. Yep. So then you met Owen, and you started working on this project. And first of all, I hear that what made Owen shift into doing what he's doing right now. I'm hearing a story about a pot brownie with Joey Diaz. Can we talk about that for a minute?
Oh yeah. Joey Diaz. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, you're making me think of other stuff though too, because like,
let it go.
I mean, I actually like knew Joey Diaz. I would go to the jiu-jitsu place where he would go in North Hollywood, called Subconscious. And I'd see him in there and stuff. So like I would go to, the Ice House to go watch him, to go watch Joe Rogan, to go watch Jim Norton, and I'd go to the Comedy Store. And sorry to go on a tangent, but when I started looking you up, I was like, wow, you are like, you were so accomplished in comedy, like with another generation. Like you were on Last Comic Standing with Ralphie May and Rich Voss.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. It was exciting. I mean, when I got cast in that show, because I say I was cast. By the way, Joe Rogan was a judge for my season.
Yeah.
And because how they broke it up is they did a whole search of like, comedians all across the country. I think it was the first season, so maybe they saw like 6,000 of us or so. And first they whittled it down to 25 on the East Coast and 25 on the West Coast, and we competed at the Laugh Factory. They taped it. And that night, Joe Rogan, he had hair back then. And, we were told like after we performed that we might be called by, the judges, and they would ask us questions. And the person who did call me out was Joe Rogan.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I have like a little bit of a crossover with Joe Rogan that way. Yeah.
Yeah. And I also, with Rich Voss, I saw him. I was doing a self-defense seminar, like shooting it in Baltimore in like 2017. And we went to the radio station, and Rich Voss was there on the radio, and I met him. And he invited us to go see him later that night at Magooby's. And we went out there and saw him, and he like shouted us out, and we talked to him. Nice. He was cool.
He is cool. Yeah, I hung around him a lot on the set, and because I was a smoker then, and I didn't have they had cartons and I didn't have any, so they were supplying me. And Rich, even when, because the show, every reality show has an element of cruelty to it,
right?
Right. And so, at one point I was the person that was being challenged. Like we had to say, I know I'm funnier than Blake,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, I saw
right?
that. Yeah.
Okay, right. So I could see when Rich Voss said, I know I'm funnier than Terry Joyce. I swear to God, he looked like he was going to cry because he said it. Because I don't think it hurt his heart to say that.
Yeah, he didn't want to say it. Yeah,
and it kind of touched me. I was like, oh, he's really gruff, but he's just a really pussycat inside,
Well, he gets shit on by all those comics, like all the Opie and Anthony comics.
Oh,
he always got shit on by them, like Bill Burr and all those guys. They would always talk shit. And Patrice O'Neill, like he was always the heel of all their jokes.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so that's probably why he didn't like doing that. You know what I mean? He was probably like, I don't want to,
Yeah, I thought it was because maybe he liked me. I mean, like, just kind of liked me. I'm not saying but he did try to like get with me throughout the show.
Oh, nice. Even when you had that crazy hair.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, like, even when we were in Vegas, like he came up to me, right? And we were hanging out. before we were going to compete, we had gone through like, a few days of rehearsals, and I was hanging out listening to a band. He comes up and he goes, why don't you come up? Why don't you come up and why don't we get it together? I go, no, Rich, this is like baseball. We're competing. You don't have sex when you compete. You don't have sex before you're going to go. You can't. He goes, well, how about a hand job? I go, no, get out of here.
Oh my God, you did?
Yeah. I'm like, get out of here.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
I shouldn't say that, but that was kind of really the dialogue.
That's some reality for you.
Things that people don't know.
Owen never said that to me, for the record.
Yeah, he never said, "Hey Adam, how about a hand job while I'm milking this cow?" I gotta say, in the documentary, there's a lot of men with beards. A lot of men with beards. A lot of bearded men.
Yep.
Yeah.
I still have a beard. I can't get rid of it,
Yeah. Well, I was thinking about like, yeah. So
I didn't really answer the question. I didn't answer the question.
So legend has it that there's a brownie involved in the shift in Owen Benjamin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So and it's not even a brownie. It was called a Star of Death. And because Joey Diaz, like, he's like a machine when it comes to eating edibles, and he had Owen on his podcast in I think it was 2016. Yeah, it was, and he gave Owen a Star of Death, and Owen actually wanted 2 of them, and he goes, no, dog, I can't do that to you, dog, and he only gave him 1, and Owen like slowly like just went insane not insane, but like he lost it, like where he just couldn't pay attention anymore. He was staring at Joey like really weird, and then he got up and he left and he went out for air, but then from his own words he said he just got in the car and just left LA. Like he basically drove home to his wife, and then very shortly after that he left LA. Like that same year is when he left.
Wow.
So there was a weird
I've had a life-changing pot brownie before myself, actually.
Yeah.
I realized that it can happen. Yeah, but I didn't leave town. I just dyed my hair red. That's a whole nother story. I flushed my friend's cell phone down the toilet. That's what it was.
Really?
I kind of, it could do something to you. Whatever that is can really change your perspective,
Oh, it can, yeah. It's every time. Like I did acid one time, I did mushrooms one time, and both times it kind of changed me. Like it kind of changed my perspective on shit. Like when I did mushrooms, we were like camping, and I was out by this little tiny creek, and as soon as it kicked in, I thought I was like in a raging river, and I started floating down the creek, and it came to like a part where there were rocks, and it went around a corner, and I was holding onto the rocks, and my friends were laughing at me, and I looked up and they were laughing at me, and I thought I was like going to die, and I'm like, they don't care about you. Like they don't care that you're about to die right now. But it was literally just like a small creek. And then I after that, I parked myself in like this little island part, and I was looking out there was like a bunch of trees on this little island, and I was looking out, and I saw some other campers walk by, and I'm like, I felt like I was like indigenous, and I'm like, why can't I just live here? Like, why do I have to go back to like a house and pay rent? Like, why can't I just stay here? Like, what's this all about?
I want to talk about like what I find fascinating about Owen Benjamin, and I did watch all parts of the documentary, and I went through honestly sometimes it brought a tear to my eye, like just like some of the hope of some of the people had.
Yes.
In my perception, and let me ask you this. I think sometimes, especially right now, or it has been maybe at that time, where being a man was not really upheld. It seemed like everything was becoming very
feminized.
Yeah, like men were being feminized.
Yep.
And to be masculine and be a real man was looked down upon, and I felt like there might be like some of the guys that there they needed that bonding. They
Yep.
needed to build things. They needed to feel like they had a value, and they had a vision of surviving, and also having a sense of freedom. And then Owen, became like this, because he's very clever, he's very smart, he's very charismatic, he's very verbally manipulative.
Yes.
And and he's got that gift of comedy, and it's like they idolized him.
Yep.
They idolized him, and he was in this position, of like, for example, like included in the song where he is, making jokes, but they have little meanings to them. Like he was like almost like, I'm a guru to you guys in a way.
Yep.
And there is like, he had such influence on people to get them to move to another location.
Yes.
And change their lives, and husbands and wives, not just like, and then the fact that Beartaria went everywhere, like Ireland and groups in the Ozarks and parts of the country, and San Diego, and then people are making their own produce and selling it at like these events in their own areas, and just like the whole influence of it. But there's also, for me, when I look at it, there's this tinge of uncomfortableness that I feel like, as if like, is there a monster happening here? Like, is there something happening where he's like, there's an ego going on, like, for example, the one guy that had the short pants, and he's teasing him. Like at first it's kind of funny, like, do you wear short pants? You came here with short pants, like, are those Guess jeans? But it almost feels like he's messing with him, almost mean on the edge. But it's also like a mental manipulation to bring him into submission, sort of. So then the guy ends up like the next episode, he's got long pants on, but he becomes this like his right hand man behind him, repeating him, and this sort of like almost like he's a father figure to him. Okay, so I'm seeing the right. I mean, you're agreeing with what I'm seeing, because those are the things I was picking up. I was like, wait a second here, what's going on?
Well, you just hit on so many points. I mean, like, first of all, well, that guy is made by Jim Bob, and he had a huge public falling out with Owen, and Owen called him a pedophile. Owen went after his wife. Like, it's insane, and it broke the whole community apart. So like, it is true. And that guy made by Jim Bob, he was like a very loved, kind of like me. He was a very loved character. His was more like in front of the camera, right? So he came on Owen's live stream several times during COVID, and one of the episodes was like people were crying because he went to like a farmer's market, and he like had the Beartaria shirt on, and the guy bought sprouts from a guy who knew about Beartaria, and they weren't wearing masks, and they hugged, and it was super emotional. And then Owen he immediately went on stream, and then he was crying. Like that was like a really big point for like Owen's like land fund and the dream of Beartaria. Like that was a big moment where people really like bought in. And that was before I did the documentaries. Then I come along and I do the documentaries, and I'm believing all this shit. So you can tell like the way I put it together, like I really believed in it, like I really did. And back to your first point, like, if you see the guys that came out to build, they are kind of meek dudes that like don't know what they're doing. They just want to learn how to be a man. Then there's other ones that like are really manly.
They were really manly.
Yeah, there was a couple that were like, they're like, give me all these tools. Like there was a guy with his dad who showed up with a whole trailer from Michigan, like with everything. And they just, if it wasn't for those dudes, like nothing would have happened. But like, and then there's a guy with an excavator too, who like, he really helped a lot too. But so there's that, but then there's also the need, like there was a really big need for community during COVID, where like people wanted to get in, and it also kind of piggybacks on Make America Great Again, that whole thing where you want to get back to community. Like I was living in LA for like 20 years. You don't know your neighbors. You don't talk to your neighbors. You can't trust your neighbors if shit goes down. And then now you're just like, this guy's offering this. It's like, look, no, one of his things is no 10 people within 10 miles that you can count on, and like barter, trade, you build this, help each other build. And it was kind of like a fast track way to community, but it wasn't real because he was the head of it. So like, instead of you actually building up your community and being a good person to your neighbors, to your church, and actually building up your community, you got this like ready-made fake community online. As long as Owen can kind of humiliate you and you pay him, you got the community ready-made.
Well, I am curious about the fallout, like what happened afterwards, because like really when you watch what we see that you have on that's on your website, is looks inspirational, it looks hopeful. One of the concerns I have about it is that the location was northern Idaho, and that area is historically known as being white supremacist or racist. So and there were a couple things, like for example, the extra footage of the goat thing when he's milking the goats, and he has the goats with their heads in the
Stanchion.
right?
Yeah.
And he's going on and he's talking about how, it's them. They said it's okay because they're over here eating, but I'm taking their milk for my thing. So they're in my system. So it seemed like a lot of times he's talking about building a new life and building new things, but at the same time, it's in the same system. Like, you're not really changing your way that you're going to do it. You're just in charge now. And
yeah.
the same thing with like in the Ozarks, when they're talking about that, well, one guy comes in with this trailer and he goes, I want to learn, I'm going to work on the land for what I get to live and eat or whatever. I'm not making money. So they talked about the feudal system and the slaves in the feudal system. And it's like, that's the freaking dark ages.
Yeah.
And it was kind of shocking that they were making those references as if that was going to be the grounds for it. And then I was watching it and I kept thinking, when does this turn into Lord of the Flies?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Right? Like,
well, that's what I've been trying to stop.
Yeah. It's like, because in power dynamics and communities, when communities are built, somebody's going to bang somebody else's wife.
Oh yeah, no,
or right,
well,
or there's the pedo in the neighborhood somewhere, maybe.
Well, that's the thing. It started getting really weird really fast. That's what I mean. Like in the Ozarks,
okay.
Like those are the cult members. Like the guys up in North Idaho, like. A lot of them are not there anymore. I know a lot of guys that went out there wanting to help Owen, and they realized that it was all fake. Like, he wouldn't show up to stuff. He wouldn't help anybody. He wouldn't talk to anybody unless it was on camera. And they were like, I came here for a community, and you guys it's not even real. And a lot of them left. A lot of them got divorced. There's a guy out there that he ends up getting divorced, and his wife says that he was in a cult when in court. There's like another guy. Well, that's another story. But I'm just saying, like, then when it got to the Ozarks, the second land fund, the people that moved out there were even worse. Like, that was when he was getting really into the Muslim stuff and really getting into the child bride stuff, into like arranged marriage stuff, also the age of consent stuff. He said several times that in an agrarian society, which he's trying to build, but he doesn't say that, but he says, in an agrarian society, it's much more moral for I think he said 12-year-old to marry a 50-year-old than to just fuck some random girl and never talk to her again. And then he talked about age of consent, and he was like, age of consent is marriage, guys. It's not a number, it's marriage. And he was getting really weird with that stuff, and that was coming from Sam, who was a Muslim, who was the other guy that I'm suing. So like it got really weird. And when I went down there, like I would meet people and they'd tell me that like they were already talking about, the kids would talk about like marrying each other. Like a little boy would be like, that's going to be my wife. And he'd start keeping tabs on a little girl. Like, hey, where's Sarah? Where is she? What's she doing? Like already thinking like he has ownership over this little girl. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, this is not cool. And I saw a lot of that too. That's why, when I came back, that was the first festival, and then the second festival is when I really started like seeing it. So when I came back, I'm like, and then I got to know Sam too, and all of his Muslim ways that were very, let's just say, not Christian. I was completely freaked out. You know, I was still working with the guy, but like, it got really weird. Like, what are we doing here?
Well, I saw no Mexicans out there. You know, I mean, I don't know if there was anybody other than, you know, I'm sorry,
Me.
but other
Yeah.
doing the camera work, but there wasn't a whole lot of diversity. You know, in everybody looked almost like they could have been part of the Mormon religion. You know, they were very
There's a lot of that.
right. A lot of redheads. I think I saw one guy who might have been half black.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's Bowler Bear. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's like the token black guy that,
Yeah.
know, and that's it. Yeah. I mean, but there is a lot of Mormon crossover. Like there's a bunch of bears are Mormon and ex-bears, and they like the way Owen talked about Christ, like saying he's not God. He's not the savior. And also too, like they also liked that whole community thing, because I think a lot of that Mormon community like doesn't exist anymore, but it used to, kind of like the Amish. So like there was a lot of that, and they also, some of them do like polygamy. They like the idea of several wives. He's talked about that many times. And actually Sam too, like he wanted to do that as well. Didn't turn out good for him, but yeah, there's a lot of that. Well, that's funny you say Mormon.
Well, there's a lot of patriarchal beliefs. It seemed like the women's role were to be like mothers and this and that. They had a definite role to serve their family and the man. Like I didn't see anybody like me out there,
Right.
Right. Like, can I bring my cat? It's like, it's like you don't belong. And I'd be like, well, I'm starting to grow a beard. Does that count?
Yeah. They're like, is that a wig?
Right. No wigs allowed. Beartaria.
Oh no, yeah. There was definitely that was what the belief was. It was basically God, then man, then the wife, the woman's under the man, the children's under the women. That's very clear.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so when did these go wrong? Like how did the break happen in the lawsuit? You don't have to tell me all of it. I want to hurry your lawsuit, but what happened there?
Right. Oh, well, I mean, it all was around the comedy special, because I had done around 18 projects for Owen and Sam, and no problem. Verbal contract, never a problem, because it was basically just getting paid, and then he couldn't monetize it anywhere, even though he was, because he was putting it behind paywalls. But then the comedy special came out, and he realized that it was something that he could actually make money off of. So that's the first time that I was involved in something like that. And we had also, after he hooked me up with Kanye West and everything, he had also contracted me for a whole year of finally, because they've been promising me steady work forever, for the whole 3 years, more money, and actually monthly, and it was never happening. So they finally agreed to it in June or July of 23. So we were already starting to do that, just barely. But I made it very clear to them that's not including the comedy special, and so they would put me off, they wouldn't answer me about it. But then, I told Sam, I was like, no, man, the comedy special's above and beyond. I'm already shooting documentaries at the festival. And to do a comedy special in the middle of fucking hayfield is a lot of work.
Yeah.
I had to do all the lighting design, bring it all out there, run the power, set up all the set design, set up cameras, do lighting tests and everything. And it was insane. It was, a five camera setup, and then we also used that for all of the speakers that were there, and also for all of the concerts that were, just the little bands playing. But, so that was all, that was all fine and good. They're like, sure. And then I get back and I'm editing, and they start just getting kind of weird about it, And then at the right when the comedy special comes out, Owen has a stream, and he's kind of alluding to me, spiraling or something behind the scenes. And I texted him, I said, Owen, hope you're not talking about me. I am not spiraling whatsoever. I'm I'm proud of this comedy special, the way I put it out and everything. And sure enough, on Monday, Sam comes at me with a contract, and I'm like, "What's this?" And he goes, We're not going to pay you until you sign this contract." And it was a completely predatory contract, like totally, like getting rid of all my intellectual property rights and like locking me into like a finite amount of money, like percentage on the back end of the special, and also like negating the whole 12-month period that we already agreed to of that constant work. It was completely fucking me over. And and we also are supposed to be against contracts because it's Talmudic and Jewish. So like the bear thing is like Owen's thing is against that, like 100%. And I'm
against contracts.
Yes, against Talmudic, like Jewish stuff, like
I see.
against lawyers, against psychiatry, all that stuff. You know what I mean? Like, so like this was a complete like hypocrisy. I'm like, what is this? Like I thought, we're not about taking loans. We're not about like contracts. We're not about. Oh, Owen had said several times on his live stream he's not about NDAs. They wanted me to sign an NDA, and he's like, yeah, NDAs are, you know, I don't take secret oaths, and I don't sign NDAs, so I could say whatever I want. And now he's making me. I'm like, what is this?
Oh, but he's making you sign it. And
yeah.
That's so not fair.
Yeah. So I was like, all I said to Sam was like, okay, then I got to have a lawyer take a look at this, man. And he fucking flipped on me. And then next thing you know, the next day, Owen goes on his live stream, fires it up, and he puts a thing out like you did about what it's going to be about Adam from Film Grain. And what does he do? Like I was watching behind the scenes of the sales of the special. We made almost $33,000 in 3 days.
Wow.
So we made $11,000 a day, right? And I knew that. Like he's such an idiot. He actually showed what it's worth, right? And then he comes out and defames me for 3 hours, calling me a thief, calling me an extortionist, calling me a criminal, calling me all these racial slurs. And then he also says, guys, I'm giving you all the money back. All the profits, I'm giving it all back to you. This is like Christmas for Beartaria. So he took all of my profits and gave them back to the Bears, refunded all the money, and then they all gave it back to him in super chats. And
God.
And they were sending in super chats, and they're saying, fuck that beaner. Here's 3 times. Here's 3 times the special. Here's 60. Here's 100. It was his biggest super chat day of all time. And it's like the most insane thing ever. I'm like, I couldn't believe it. Like, that's why I had a break. I was like in shock. I'm like, what is going on? First of all, we had a deal. Second of all, I thought this guy was my friend. Like, and that's also like you're saying about having it like be sad and watching this stuff. It's sad for me to look back and see like all the footage, because I had to go through it last week and just see how many times we were laughing, how I was helping him with his comedy, with the comedy special, like preparing. Like, it's so fucked up that he turned on me and just like stuck a knife in my back and publicly just destroyed me with the whole community. Like, I had people out here that would come to my house and help me build chicken coops, help me plant fruit trees. Like, they've eaten my wife's food. I've eaten their wife's food. Their kids have played with my kids, and they all turned on me in an instant. Nobody said, Adam, what's your side? Nobody said, Adam, are you okay? They were in there super chatting, and they were saying in his secret telegram the most horrendous shit about me and my wife. It was insane. At that moment, in 1 second, in 1 hour, I realized it was a fucking cult. Like everything I'd been defending was true.
Why do you think he did that to you? Do you know why?
Greed. I mean, he's a greedy person, and he has no morals. He has no backbone. And that guy, Sam, his buddy, he also had an axe to grind with me too. And I think he went from like actually being a mediator between me and Owen, like to like twisting my words to Owen, knowing that Owen's totally schizo and he will fucking fly off the handle at anybody. He started like taking what I was saying to him in a negative light and feeding it to Owen like I was like trying to pull something, when all I was saying was like, look, Sam, I paid you as my agent with the Yay stuff. I paid you $15,000. So when we talk about like, don't just represent me too, like not just Owen, represent me and just get me a good deal. And he did quite the opposite.
Interesting. So what's happening now? I mean, are there people out there still? Is he still, in Idaho?
Well, it's been like since he did that to me, it's been over 2 years, and his following has completely, what do you say, like disseminated. Like it's a fraction of what it was. Because, and I wouldn't say I'm not going to say it's because of me, but there were definitely some people that I know that left because of what he did to me. There were a few that didn't leave. They didn't leave immediately, except for like, I think Hector, my buddy Hector, but because he was right there with me. But there were people that ended up leaving a few months later, or like 8 months later, because like it was just such a weird thing to not go after like another public figure or another influencer or YouTuber, but to go after like a private figure and somebody that was your friend. Like, and I kept saying that in comments. I was like, if he can do this to me, he could do it to any one of you people, And I think that did, like, people, when they saw it, like the way he acted, they did leave after a while. But then also too, just his actions since then have also made people leave, because he spiraled and like said horrible things to people just to get clicks, just to get attention. He's turned on like everybody. He's burned every bridge, because he got back on Twitter. So getting back on, I liked Owen when he was off Twitter, because he created his own app where we were supposed to not pay attention to Babylon, not pay attention to the beast, pay attention to us. Let's build. And then as soon as they let him back on Twitter, he like ghosted the app, and he was all about fighting on Twitter and trying to ankle bite all of his old comic friends, all of his old like influencer friends, and create beef and get more followers. And it's just been a spiral ever since, because people are just now tired of his shit.
I did notice that in the documentary, a lot of the bears would say, I left Babylon. I left Babylon. They all had their own version of Babylon. So that word was, reference was used a lot.
Yeah.
By them. So.
Yeah, it's leaving the system, leaving the beast system, which I still believe in. I mean, you can't really completely leave it, but you got to try not to depend on it.
Where did the bear stuff come from? Like, why are they identifying themselves as bears?
Because they're all gay. Just kidding. Just kidding. No, because he did a thing where, like when he had a really huge following, and he would get like trolls in the chat and stuff. Like he says that people used to call him Big Bear when he was younger. But I think he took that from Vince Vaughn, because he took a lot from Vince Vaughn. But he said, so everybody who's actually a bear, put a bear emoji in the chat, so I know that you're actually one of us. And that's when it started. Then people started taking on their names, and that was like, I want to say that was like in 16 or 17.
And isn't it in cults too? Like people take a new name, like you get a new name now. You're no longer so and so. You're blank, blank, blank bear. I mean, I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, they do. You lose your identity and you become like whatever you are useful to him. I'm Welder Bear. It's all right. Then come over and weld my fucking fence. It's basically a way for him to use people. And also too, it's just not, you're not supposed to choose your own name. Nicknames come from other people that know you the best. But if you're just going to choose your own name, it's just going to be, it's going to be your ego, who you want to be. So it's all inverted, in my opinion.
We got some. It looks like somebody is pretending to be hoax in the chat. I just took a really quick look at it there, and
I can't see the chat. I will not look at the chat.
Yeah, I mean, it's not bad. If there is like a question that that does come up, I mean, because we're not really getting into this other. We're going to get into this other aspect here really right quick on how this has spilled over. So this Owen Benjamin. There's the lawsuit. You have the bear community. You have like some maybe disillusioned people,
Mm-hmm.
and I see that you and repair like. Well, okay. First of all, like before I go into the other stuff, right?
Right.
When you talk about the app, what I thought was interesting about the app was the commercing, and it looked like it was like it had like legs of some sort of like other revenue stream made by people. It looked really like possible,
Mm-hmm.
but now it seems like you're saying that it kind of it fell apart. It wasn't, none of that was really real.
Yeah, it's sad. It was such a good idea. That's why I was part of it. Like, this could have been the way out if it wasn't led by Owen Benjamin. Like, if it actually had a good dude who was actually like he knew had some self control and not wasn't such a greedy fuck. Like, it could have actually worked, But it was all about filling his pockets, buying him land in his name, and yeah, we were doing it. Like, and the thing is that we did it. He didn't do it. It was his idea, but we did it. Like, we were doing it out here in San Diego. We would have huge Beartaria meetups where people would like you said, like microgreens. Some people would bring lemons. People have eggs. People would make cheese, honey, and we would all like share that stuff. And when we couldn't go out to the stores because of the mask, it was like a breath of fresh air. It kept us sane, and it was great. And it was happening all over the country, and it's just so sad that it had to go that way, because there were some really good people, and I still am in contact with them. There's ex-Bears that were like, had these great businesses, and they were contributing so much, and they really, I mean, now they're moving on, but it was it's sad that it was such a diversion to our lives, where like we invested so much into this community, and it was not only was it taken from us, but we were also destroyed by it. He destroyed our businesses, and he destroyed our name, and he shunned us from the whole community, and he defamed us. And I'm the only one that's actually got an actual case, because he used my real name. When it comes to like Sir Crushington Bear, Woodshop Bear, Board Game Bear, he was going after their actual bear names. So like, you got to take that aspect out of it for defamation. But he used my full name, and also too, I had the contract. I was working, for him, and that's a broken contract. But there's so many other people that have been affected by this guy, and they've moved their families to different areas, and it's gone really badly. It's really sad. But these people are moving on. They're doing way better now. It's been 2 years, and a lot of them are doing better than me, but I'm still stuck in this freaking lawsuit. I wish it was over. I wish he wasn't, just trying to bleed me dry and do the scummiest lawfare you can think of, filing hundreds of motions that I have to just bullshit. Like the latest thing he did, and he talked about it on his stream. It's called a bill of particulars. So I had to go in with my lawyer and sit down and go over what's called a bill of I go, what is this? He goes, this is like from old England. He goes, we don't use this. He goes, all these numbers that they're asking for are in the complaint. But this is just, it's just them spinning their wheels, spending money, wasting time. It's just crazy.
That's crazy. So definitely, I mean, my last question before first of all, I think my last question is going to be about Kanye West. Okay. But so pretty much there's not, I mean, are these communities, is there still a community in Ireland that's still Beartaria? Like,
no.
It's all gone?
Over. It's over.
Wow.
No, and Ireland was strong too. There were some good dudes out there, really good dudes. Buzzwrecker Bear, this other guy, I forget his name, but they had really big meetups out there, and they were doing some good stuff. It's a shame,
So, what was it like working with Kanye West? I mean, what was that like? Following him around.
Well, I worked in Hollywood for 20 years, so it's not like anything crazy for me. I've seen people freak the fuck out. Like, I worked on a movie with David Lynch.
Uh-huh.
And he's like a transcendental meditation guy, or he was.
Yes.
Like super calm, super cool. I've seen him flip the fuck out. It was crazy.
Really?
Yeah. He's like, who who the fuck told them to make these fucking curtains? They're the wrong fucking size. They're the wrong fucking color. And everybody was like, what the? And I was like, why am I in this meeting? Like, what? Why am I even here? And he was like, and then he like calmed down. He's like, look, I'm sorry. I got upset, but I would hope that somebody would come to me first before you made all these decisions. So yeah, I've seen so many people flip out. But Ye was, he flipped out. I've seen him flip out once on me. The first night he flipped out on me. But
really?
Oh yeah, but I know how to deal with it. I'm like, hey.
You would have been horrified.
Oh yeah. No, because okay, I'll tell you the story. So
okay.
Like it's the first night I'm there and like we're talking about a documentary, right? So like I do a full-on meeting with him and all these people. And then afterwards, like I'm talking to the guy there that has some footage and another guy who's like trying to edit some stuff, but he's a paparazzi guy, so he doesn't know what he's doing. He's using all these lame transitions, like page peels. It was horrible. And so I'm done with the day and I'm about to come back home. So it's like 7 p.m. and I go into the area where he's doing his like all of his clothing stuff. And I go, hey, yay, we're out of here. He goes, where y'all going? I said, well, I'm going to go start working on the documentary. He goes, yeah, but how long is it going to take? I said, it takes a while, like maybe a month or two. He goes, I don't have a month or two. I need something right now. I'm like, right now? I said, I don't even have my fucking computer. And he goes, Adam, I'm hiring you to be the leader. You're the boss. You're the king. You tell him what to do. You get this done right now. And the other guy, like he's this paparazzi guy, this Black Panther. He goes, say less, say less. And I'd never heard that before. I'm like, say less. And so then I'm like, all right. I said, hey man, give me your computer. Luckily I had like a little hard drive with some effects on it. I go, give me your computer. Let's go. And I go into the boardroom and I just put something together. And like, I get done at like midnight and I'm driving home and he loves it. He calls me on the phone. He's like telling me we should open a movie studio together. And I'm like, sure. I said, but I'm not doing it in LA. I don't want to go there. Come out by me. He's like, okay. And that was it. Like next thing you know, I'm in there and, I'm going in there every day to Yeezy and I'm shooting with him. And the rest is pretty crazy.
So this is the documentary about him running for president, right?
Yeah, Ye 24 was me and him in the beginning. That's it. Everybody had left him. Everybody, his manager, his lawyer, his accountant, everybody had his whole team, because when he said about the Jews, he was going DEFCON 3 and it just happened. Everybody left him. It was just me and him. And he was like in Adidas, was suing him for like 250 million, and like they're freezing his banks. And he goes, a good bankruptcy attorney? I'm like, I just went bankrupt like last year, sure. And I'm like, dude, if you need somewhere to stay, you can come on my land. It was insane.
Wow. Well, okay, so we've got, I want to, there's some people in the chat that I do want to acknowledge. We do have Seren here, Sewer Town's here,
Hey,
Baby
Seren.
Fist, Baba Yaga Wathan is here, so Gio's here. And, I did actually, Aussie John is here, Telly showed up.
Oh, jeez.
So, but I did unblock Liz because we are going to talk about her in the next section. We're going to talk about like how this crosses over into some of the other online characters here.
Oh, jeez, what a buzzkill.
Oh, but you know what? If she gets out, if she shows up and she gets out of can and she's rude, we'll just kick her out.
It's all good.
She might not even. I always felt though, even though if you are talking about somebody, you should at least let them say something, Sure. And so let's see what she has to say, even if she shows up. I saw a comment like rabbit hole is going to be it, with Adam. This is hilarious. So I'm not really a fan of the lady, but I don't want to seem like totally biased.
It's all about. They make it all about them. It's so crazy.
Right. And I was just like, there's a lot of things that you know, like I was telling people, I go, look, I really want to like delve into Owen Benjamin and your experience, and I'm interested about what you've done. I'm interested in what you've been going on, and I'm interested in like how he influenced people in the subculture and the undertow of the racism, and you know, just all of this stuff wrapped up in, because there was something that was positive that was happening, giving people hope and inspiration. I think that's the sad part, is to see that get smashed.
It is
For people, you know, because I think people are, especially now, they're really looking for a new way and hope and stuff like that. And I think being an inspiration or a leader to people, which he stepped into that position, it's almost like there's a little bit of the crazy, the egomaniac in him. You know, there's a little bit of what do you call him? Napoleon, you know, the guy who was like this. Yeah. Okay. But I did pull up some your I'm going to show some of your footage from your AI Grift Patrol video that you have on about, like, wait, I did have it pulled up. Okay, I always do that all the time. Sorry. It'll take me just a second because I was just looking at it. So I want to play a few parts of this, just to kind of like give people a background on who Liz is, how she came into this controversy between Owen Benjamin and you, and then discuss some of the changes that have happened. For example, we do know that Hoax Wars apologized to you, and I want to talk about that a little bit. But I'm going to share the screen here, and to your video, and it's titled Liz Antoinette Grift from the Prodigal Daughter to Owen Benjamin Online Troll Documentary. And what's interesting about this documentary is that you actually, I'm going to go with the full screen here, and let me put my banner on there. This is fair use. It's interesting that you used AI and the guy in it is AI. Of course, that's why you're AI Grift Patrol. But I'd never seen a documentary like that. I thought it was very clever. I didn't even know that was available. Do you have any comments on that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just winging it. Like, this whole channel came about because of Liz. You know, because she was just attacking me, and she was just slandering me and defaming me, Telly. You know, so I just started fighting back. I'm like, what do I got to do? So I made this, and then because I've been working with AI on the side as a side business, and I'm learning all these different types of software, and I realized I could do this. And I'm like, look, you know, being in media for so long, what holds you back, of course, is money, you know, and time and help. You know, when you don't have the manpower, how are you going to shoot? Like, first you have to hire you have to hire a writer, you have to hire an actor, you have to like get a studio with a white cyc, you have to light it, you have to get a camera guy, you have to get an audio guy. And with AI, it's just like, look, I can do this all myself, you know. And so I learned the software, and I learned how to you know, prompt and write and, you know, analyze. And I kind of got a workflow down. Like, the first ones were kind of rough. I didn't know where I was going. But then after that, I started focusing on Owen Benjamin, and that's the good stuff. You know, I didn't send you that one, but there's one about Owen Benjamin. He came back to the Bohemian Grove last year.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and he did a stand-up special, and I show every joke that he did was either stolen from somebody else, or was his old material from like 15 years ago. And I show that, I do split screen, and that was my first one about Owen. And then I started like leaning more on the narrator and giving him more, you know, like, you know, just breaking it up with more narration. And I think, you know, I haven't done it in like a month, or it's going on 2 months because I've just been so busy. But I want to continue. I still want to show the Beartaria Ozarks, and I want to talk about my lawsuit in a little documentary. So yeah, it's been fun. I just take these opportunities as opportunities to learn. You know, so that's it.
Yeah. Well, I enjoyed watching it, or how you put it together. And hey, maybe we should come back and do another show and talk about, the other stuff that you're doing. I hope this isn't the only time, but
Sure.
so here we go. I'm going to play like the beginning of it just to kind of give it the setup of the documentary.
You're watching AI Grift Patrol, and this is Liz Antoinette, the attention economy, the doctored narrative, and the damage done. I'm Propaganda Limited, an AI narrator with no ego, minimal legal liability, and a fondness for receipts. And before we start, I promise I am not Luigi Mangione. Today we run the timeline the way the logs show it happened. Support, a copyright strike, a public invite, then a flip, private message dumps, parody videos repackaged as threats, doxes, and a countersuit that used the online drama as its scaffolding. Let's be honest, most of you are here for the Owen files, and that's fair. Compared to Owen, Liz Antoinette is a relatively small-time player in this drama, but she matters here because her story shows a bigger pattern, how Owen's orbit attracts some of the best and some of the worst people the internet can produce. This episode features Owen, but it's a separate case study, how a small-time, attention-seeking streamer latched onto his land campaign, tried to siphon his audience to revive a faltering book brand, and, according to the archive and her critics, made a string of questionable decisions that turned a content opportunity into a legal and reputational disaster. Stick around. We've got the clips, the chat logs, and the timestamps. Judge the theatre for yourself. Let's go. Who is Liz Moldovan?
I'd like to introduce Elizabeth Moldovan.
Hi,
How you going?
Chris.
How are you?
Elizabeth Moldovan is a person who has journeyed the hidden face of drug addiction and today joins me. Elizabeth, thank you for your time. You've written a book called The Prodigal Daughter. Tell us a little bit of your story. You're a mother of 5 children. Yes. You're a wife and you're raising your family, and yet you have an addiction to heroin.
On camera, she presents a neat redemption arc. A former heroin addict who says she heard the voice of Christ, came to Jesus, and rebuilt her life as a Christian author and live streamer.
Elizabeth, you've got a new book. Well, you've got a book. How long's this book been out? It's called The Prodigal Daughter.
Yeah, a couple of years.
It's a couple of years, yeah. It's not entirely well known along areas, at the moment, which it should be because it's the influence of your life, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about the book. Obviously, it's about you, but what are some of the areas about The Prodigal Daughter?
Yeah.
Like what are some of the highlights in there? Obviously, some of the things we've talked about.
Yeah, I think the main thing is that no matter how far you're gone, there's always hope if you're alive,
Yep.
and that God will help you and forgive you no matter what you've done. I think that's the underlying message.
Yep.
Because, all along I thought I was too far gone.
Okay.
I thought, I didn't know God was so full of forgiveness and mercy.
Yep.
I had no idea.
Okay.
Section 1, Recovery Brand. Start with the brand, from heroin to Christ. The conversion moment she sells, the audible voice at 11 p.m, is the pivot of her narrative.
When one night I woke up and sat bolt upright in my bed. I was a bit fuzzy and looked at the digital clock and saw it was 11 p.m. I thought, how strange, because I have never been woken up at that time before.
Yeah, one night we were in a refuge and I just woke up at 11 o'clock and I heard a voice, not in my head, it was in the air, and it just said, do you want to be made whole? And it repeated itself, do you want to be made whole? And I never heard language like that before.
Yep.
And then I heard an audible voice, in the air, not in my head. The voice said, do you want to be made whole? Do you want to be made whole? I lay down and went back into a deep, deep sleep straight away. The next morning I woke up and then went downstairs where I had to ask the office staff to open the safe and give me my dose of methadone to drink because we were not allowed to keep medications in our rooms. I thought about the voice for only a second, but I never forgot those words because the word whole is in language that I do not use.
Yeah, the next morning I woke up, just went to the program, and 2 weeks later we went to a church service in the city.
During the past year, I would watch a Christian program on television, and at the end it had the address of a church in the city, and I thought I could get there.
Liz Moldovan, one of our miracle stories. Stand up, Liz. Come on.
Come on, Liz.
Stand up. There
Oh,
she
look
is.
at you.
Beautiful Liz, who was up here after 37 years in heroin addiction, on her last kind of days, now flourishing as a beautiful Christian woman, author, grandmother.
And the preacher was yelling out from the stage, do you want to be made whole? Do you want to be made whole? And I just sort of went, whoa, you know, that voice must have been God. And he took over, and that was 10 years ago. And
Okay.
so
And the pastor was in the middle of preaching and he called out, do you want to be made whole? Do you want to be made whole? And tears welled up into my eyes as I realised that the voice I had heard at 11 p.m. that night was Jesus. And I was overwhelmed that after all I had done wrong, that he still cared that much for me and for us, and that he is real and he is very, very close.
That origin myth funds donations, book sales, and live stream attention. From a scientific and neurological perspective, hearing voices or experiencing spiritual visions while on methadone is not uncommon and not supernatural. Methadone, a synthetic opioid, can cause dreamlike states, hallucinations, and auditory distortions, especially in high doses or when paired with emotional trauma. The brain under stress, plus drugs, plus religious expectation is primed for meaning. It will generate symbolic experiences that feel real. Neurologically, this could mimic temporal lobe activation, the same brain region associated with spiritual visions and religious ecstasy. Bottom line, it may have felt real to her, but it was likely a drug-induced hallucination, not divine intervention. On the record, in a televised Australian interview and in passages of her memoir, Liz states that while enrolled in a taxpayer-funded methadone program, she continued using heroin nightly, sometimes while staying in a homeless refuge with her then 3-year-old daughter.
Whole, W-H-O-L-E.
Yeah.
And, you know, I was drinking methadone, went back to sleep, didn't pay much attention. And then 2 weeks later...
You were drinking methadone?
Every day.
Okay.
Yeah, every day for 24 years as well.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, both. Yeah.
That's pretty heavy stuff too.
Yeah,
Okay.
right.
Okay, all right, yeah.
So,
For those 24 years, Liz was enrolled in a government-funded methadone program in Australia, one designed to help people recover, stabilize, and reintegrate into society. But Liz didn't use that program to heal. She used it to sustain her addiction, stay off the radar, and maintain a narrative of controlled chaos. Let's be clear, that's not just unethical. It's a form of public resource abuse and possibly fraud. For methadone maintenance programs in Australia are heavily subsidized by the government and taxpayers. They exist to help opioid addicts reduce cravings safely, prevent overdose deaths, reduce the need for illegal drug use, provide medical oversight and structure, protect vulnerable populations, especially children in the home. To her children, admissions that matter. Second, the book. There are passages in which she openly describes heavy heroin use while parenting and episodes of household chaos. On the record, in both her memoir and televised interviews, Liz describes repeated episodes from her years of active addiction that, on tape, read like parenting failures, leaving children in chaotic homes, admitting to daily heroin use while caring for small kids, and recounting incidents like a baby being dropped and sustaining an injury that she places squarely in the context of her drug use. Unsafe supervision and exposure to harm.
Okay, so I'm going to stop it there, but then I want to take it to about the 15-minute mark when we get into Owen Benjamin.
This is good.
Okay.
I haven't watched this in a while. I did a good job.
You really did do a good job. You really did. Yeah, you know, it's good. So here we go. It's going to lead right into Owen Benjamin here.
5 years old. And how was he? Well, obviously he didn't know too much about it. What was he? What was happening in the family at that time?
well,
It might take a moment, but here we go.
After the methadone chapter, the timeline shows Liz pivoting from private recovery story to public attention seeker. Section 3, Slandering Owen Benjamin, Weaponized Narratives. As a longtime watcher of internet theatre, this next beat is textbook. When your book stops selling and your Facebook page fills with angry racist reviews, attention stops being a perk and becomes a business necessity. According to our archive, Liz's From Heroin to Christ, sales and donation traction had cooled, and her Amazon Facebook pages were drawing hostile reviews that branded her a racist, public signals that a revival brand was losing momentum. At the same time, Owen Benjamin launched a high-visibility land crowdfund.
Guys, I really think we can do it. I really fucking think we can do it. We could sell tickets to Beartaria, but see, I don't want to be responsible if we don't hit our limit and buy it. Because that's why I didn't start a legal defense fund for the Patreon shit, because it looks like we're not going to need it. So, and I didn't want to have to return people's money. Like, people are writing me, like, I'm in. How much money do you want? I'm like, none. Because if I didn't need it, I'd feel it would fucking mess with our relationship. People are going to attack me on Reddit for, oh, he's trying to exploit everybody. I've come through on fucking everything. And everyone knows it. I don't have to convince you guys this. Horse riding, hunting, teaching kids how to do all, I don't even know how to hunt.
A content vehicle with a large, highly engaged audience.
How many of you guys do a bear emoji if you're in to donate for Beartaria? Lots of topography there for an amphitheater. Oh, Jesus. Put a bear emoji if you're in for Beartaria. I don't want to give a minimum, but something legit. Bear emoji. All right, sweet. Look at all that. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I can't count. It's over 11. Oh, look, it's 33, 66, 911. There it is. Guys, we're getting Beartaria. I think we have a couple weeks that we can gather together the checks would be the ideal way to do it. $400 is one day pay for me. I mean, yes, guys, that's what I'm talking about. Think about what you can get back for that. We can set up a place where we teach our kids how to be men.
Allegation. The timeline suggests Liz saw the fund not as a literal campground opportunity, but as an attention market. Rather than market a refund for a campsite, she inserted herself into Owen's pitch and the surrounding controversy to reboot her platform. A strategy that looks designed to generate clicks, followers, and ultimately, book sales and donations. We'll play the clips next. Owen's pitch, the Reddit threads where Liz amplified the refund narrative, and the timestamps showing how quickly she turned that attention into stream fodder. Judge for yourself whether this was about camping or content.
I've had 3 total people ask for a refund. Total. Out of more than 700. 2 I paid outright. Granted, I was a little hurt. But I was like, okay, this is like in the beginning. And they're donations, by the way. I'm not a bank, so that isn't even on the table. And then the third one was one of the craziest human beings I've ever seen. Where it was like, she donated like in 5 different places, all these small amounts.
That's a lie. I've got the receipts here. I sent 2 donations, $300 to Unbearable's merch and $100 to his account.
This is a blatant lie by Liz. Liz donated to 2 different websites on 4 different dates, 3 different orders on unbearablesmerch.com, and once to hugepianist.com on a later date. She then asked for a refund 5 months later.
Hi there, please find enclosed my receipts of donations towards the original wilderness retreat. I am requesting a full refund of $400 because Owen Benjamin Inc. is no longer offering a fully functioning campground. I would not have donated if I had known that a bare piece of land with no amenities or dwellings on it was the end goal of fundraising. Kind regards, Elizabeth Moldovan.
And was politely responded to.
Hi, Elizabeth. It appears that these transactions were not processed on thegreatbeartrail.com, but we are looking into this matter for you. These receipts are inconsistent, which makes it harder to clarify your grievances. We will scan our database of all transactions for this campaign and pull up all transactions associated with this email. Was this the only email used when you donated? If there is another email that you used as well, please email us with that email to clarify that it is you. Thank you, and we hope all is well. We will reach out soon with our findings. The greatbeartrail.com team.
According to the archive, Liz immediately replied to the Great Bear Trail's email, not to the sender, but addressed the response directly to Owen, asking the recipient to forward the message to him by text or private message.
Hi, Owen. Please find attached the emails I received for the funds I sent you, in good faith that you would purchase a fully functional wilderness retreat similar to the picture that you showed everyone originally, because none of this has transpired to date, and the promise from you to us all that we, family, could camp on the property you said you purchased 6 months or so ago, I need a full refund. This is the 4th email I have had to send. So far receiving only a vague response from the Great Bear Trail team saying they would have to search database. So whoever is reading this, I appreciate a prompt response and forward it to Owen via text or message. Thank you for your help in this matter as soon as possible. Kind regards, Elizabeth Moldovan.
It reads like an attempt to root the dispute straight into Owen's hands. If this were true, then why did Liz donate after Owen said the original property was unavailable?
Last night we had this amazing stream about Beartaria, Ursa Mountain. We fundraised 10% of $2 million immediately just from that stream. You know, we're all fired up. It's perfect. All this, and then my realtor's like, "Oh, they already have 4 offers, and you need proof of funds in 3 days for 1.7 million." I'm like, "Oh, well, that's the end of that."
And he knows it's a lie. In Australian dollars. And then before I could calculate it, that's a lie. It transfers automatically into US dollars, and it takes 1 minute to calculate things via Google. She was already cyber stalking me and trying to ruin my life. That's a lie.
Another blatant lie by Liz. She was already slandering Owen everywhere, especially on Reddit. According to the archive, Liz later admitted she freaked out after being blocked, not over a refund, but over being shut out.
Okay, so we have that part, right? So I'm just kind of giving a bit of a setup here. I want to show a little more of Owen here. Or
this
wait,
is so good.
Go back. It is good.
I think I've watched
Huh?
It's like I'm watching it for the first time.
I buy overpriced gay little bag of wood at the grocery store. I get it's funny, but to then say, "Oh, look, he's a fraud homosexual grifter," you know, that's when the gamma loses me. That's when the gamma makes me not want to be their friend, because it goes from something funny where it's like, "Oh, look, you know, it'd be the equivalent of."
So I want to jump to the part where she like flips now, because like there was this feud and it went on, and then all of a sudden, I guess like you were doing shows with her and she seemed like an ally, and I believe it's like right here. Wait, that's.
Yeah, I hope the chapters are correct.
Adam Camacho, who was then pursuing a law.
Here we go. So I'm gonna start right here.
Who's that handsome devil? Who's that handsome devil?
Who is that handsome guy? Yeah, Adam Camacho. A nice fireplace going on there. Okay.
Thanks.
Lawsuit against Owen Benjamin and soliciting financial support for that litigation.
For all victims affected by his relentless verbal abuse, public humiliation, racial slurs, and Hollywood influence to destroy people's lives. Thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Film grade Camacho? This is film grade Camacho?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh wait, maybe I went too far, because there's a part where it says the flip. Let me see. I guess it's here. I guess it's like right here.
I think you were close. This is all still Owen.
Yeah, okay.
But according,
did I go too far?
I think you were kind of there on the other one, because it goes.
Okay.
It's showing right there with that dude.
Right here. This is where she starts to go into.
Well, no, that's where she talks to Hoax for the first time, and explains her case. You were kind of right there, because that's where like they're accepting me. It's not the flip. It's like it just shows how much they were like.
Got it. Okay, let's go
me.
here.
Adam Camacho.
Oh,
who
wait.
was then.
Wait,
But
no.
Adam Camacho, who was then pursuing a lawsuit against Owen
we're gonna
Benjamin
repeat it.
and soliciting financial support for that litigation.
For all victims affected by his relentless verbal abuse, public humiliation, racial slurs, and Hollywood influence to destroy people's lives. Thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Film
The
grade
Sam
Camacho. This is film
Yeah.
grade Camacho.
Yep.
Yeah, in the flesh. Well, actually, on the phone.
Oh, wakey, wakey, Nick.
Like,
Dude, I'm. Whoa. Adam, thank you for everything you've done, and holy shit.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I'm pretty stoked. We got a good donation today.
But yeah,
Liz,
she was,
Liz, I didn't expect we'd get someone live who has actually met Mama Jean.
Yeah, wow, that's pretty cool, isn't it?
Imagine being in Adam's position. You know, I could see, you know, you come from the Bears. That's you're already used to a certain climate. He's crossing all the way over to the other side. How often do we see that? He's the highest ranking bear we've ever seen embrace the gammas. Jim Bob might have been more famous or whatever, might have been more well known as a in this sphere. But Adam has to be the highest ranking, the one with the most exposure. I mean, he's met Owen's mom, he's stayed at Owen's house. Like,
Isn't that interesting? And you're right, it is. It's quite a coup to have like Adam in here, like 2025. I'm telling you, Oaks, it's wild. And yeah, it's just wild. Like
there's not that many people. There's not that many people above him, as it pertains to, you know, being ingrained, being on the inside. This guy produced all 3 Beartaria documentaries. He wasn't just staying in Owen's house; he was filming his life, you know, for a documentary. Like, imagine, you know, and they texted and they were friends, you know. And Owen got him work with other people and all this stuff. So there's not that many people above Adam, you know what I mean, when it comes to who you can get dirt from when it comes to the Bears. So,
and these little fuckers, Hoax, you know what they've been doing? They're still commenting. That dirty Bane Bear, he's on that Adam's YouTube commenting something or other, give the footage back, give the footage back. The footage doesn't belong to Owen, these little fuckers. Adam didn't get paid. Like, the footage belongs to Adam. Like, it's crazy. The little psycho bunch, you know, bunch.
hell yeah. I mean, I hope Adam wins. And a lot of people are predicting this. I'm not the only one predicting this. Adam will eventually come to own Ursa Rio, the Beartaria campground that Owen fraudulently, or maybe I should be careful using that word, Owen, you know, scammed. And so Adam sues Owen. He gets to own Beartaria, and then he throws a big gamma barbecue. And he invites Elaine Duncan and all the neighbors. And we promise that not to form a militia.
That was the plan.
I think that would be a good ending to the story.
According to our timeline and chat logs, that apparent friendship and promotion continued through the year, and it's the foundation for what follows.
Oh no, Adam's here. Hi, Adam.
Adam, what's up? What's the latest in the lawsuit? Adam is the one suing Owen Benjamin, right?
The next
Can we skip this part?
date is the 4th.
You want to skip this part?
Yeah, I don't want to talk about that other guy again because he actually settled with me.
Okay.
I bring up another guy I was suing with him, and he's out of it now.
Okay, how about right here? I think, like, I'm just want to get
AI aside, the oldest
where it changes.
trick in
this
the
is where it
theater,
changes with Owen.
befriend, record, then repurpose the footage. Section 5, October 2024. The copyright strike and the public in.
Okay, yeah. Is this? But when does Liz change? Like the flip?
It is. It's kind of like right there because that's where she starts. You know, she's trying to get Owen on her show, and then she's like,
Okay.
I don't know. I haven't seen this in a while.
Let me see.
But she's. Oh yeah, this is so good because she actually admits to this now.
Okay. About right here, you think? Copyright strike, public invite?
Sure.
Okay.
Decisive escalation happened. David Hakimfar, Owen Benjamin's lawyer, issued a copyright strike against Liz for restreaming Owen's comedy special. The strike appears in the archive. For reasons recorded in the log, the strike was later released.
Tomorrow, I think the strike will be lifted and the live stream will be put back up by YouTube. So I'm looking forward to that. Anyway, thanks, Adam. And I'll be able to link the Gibson Go. We'll get that going again too.
This contact with counsel correlates with a change in Liz's behavior in early 2025.
They're obsessed with me. Like I'm their only, they did like a 5-hour stream about how bad my special was. It was like 5 hours long. I didn't listen to 1 minute of it. I just know it exists. They talked about how every joke, Jim Bob, all these guys, about how horrible the production was and, oh, this joke is so hacky. Dude, what I accomplished in that special, doing all new jokes for the first time on that stage, on that land, they can't hold a goddamn candle to that. And it's so obvious, like it was such a feat. That's why I thought they'd just ignore that. But it was like 5 hours of analyzing the special. That means one of them bought it. You know, someone paid for it. Thank you for that.
The person who bought the comedy special turns out to be everyone's second favorite inebriated panelist, Odan.
There you go.
Yeah, I ain't that heathen that a lot of people think I am.
He shows up in this story more than once. We'll come back to him later.
They bought the special? Yes. The special is not free anywhere for anyone. So they bought the special to then enjoy it they enjoy with hatred. They're inverted. It's a flip. They're fucking crazy.
Very soon after the strike, Liz publicly asked Owen to appear on her stream.
Oh, here
Here's
we
a
go.
kicker. After years of calling Owen a cult leader and a scammer, when Liz finally got him on a call, the performance flipped. According to the archive, she sounded nervous, fawning, and oddly complimentary, offering him a polite invite to appear on her show with Hoax Wars rather than pressing any hard questions.
Oh, hi. Hi, Owen. How are you? I've really been enjoying your clean comedy special. And I just wanted to take this opportunity to invite you on a live stream with myself and Hoax Wars to promote your new special.
What do you mean, like right now?
Oh, no, we can book it in. But I've watched a few of your interviews in the past week and I've really enjoyed those. So I'm hoping you'll agree.
Well, you can email me, whydidn'ttheylaugh@gmail.com. I mean, I'm always down to talk to people. I just don't know what my schedule looks like. I've been pretty worn out. I mean, I did 16 hours of interviews last week and then also my stream, and I kind of was hitting the wall, but this is giving me some energy.
That tonal about face left many longtime subscribers stunned, from Venom to Fangirl in one phone call, and it reads on tape like someone trying to trade heat for access. Then, in an almost theatrical twist, Liz and Hoax Wars went live and publicly asked Owen to come on their stream. A move that, on the timeline we compiled, looks less like reconciliation and more like content-directed entreaty.
Owen, come on to the show. We'll give you half the super chats. You're going to make hundreds of dollars. You send all your bears. You're not monetized on YouTube. This is a way to send all your bears and they can super chat and you will get money through YouTube. You are like skirting the algorithm because we're monetized. You're not allowed to be. So we are giving you a great opportunity right now. You can literally send all your bears on Rumble and tell them to super chat. And we'll give you half of it. We're promising that. So what do you have to, and you can make us look like fools. You can siphon part of our audience. You are the superior rhetorician. What do you have to lose, Owen? I think he should do it. I think he's probably going to do it.
Section 6.
Here we go.
January 2025. The flip. Private messages. Dump begins. In January 2025, the timeline shows a critical flip. Liz, who had promoted Adam through 2024, began publicly dumping private messages and privately messaging contacts with a sustained campaign of negative posts aimed at Adam, Covert, and others. Since the first week of January 2025, Liz Moldovan's attacks on Adam Camacho, aimed squarely at his name and his lawsuit, have been relentless. According to our archive, Liz announced she would pivot her channel from covering Owen to running a series of streams about Adam Camacho, and it wasn't subtle. It's worth saying out loud, there are multiple plausible reasons Liz flipped on Adam Camacho, and the archive suggests they overlapped. 1. Attention. Pivoting to attack a popular channel member is fast content. 2. Reward. Her timing correlates with a period where praise from Owen and attention from Owen's lawyer, David Hakimfar, would have been valuable to her platform strategy. And 3. Personal motive, jealousy. Clips from that era show other hosts, notably a drunk streamer called Odan and Texas Goat Radio, praising Adam as the tip of the spear, holding Owen accountable in the real world.
And that's fine. But that's what I'm saying, is like, you've got people like, and I don't want to put you in the same category as Johnny Arcade, and I don't want to put Liz in that same category. But what I'm saying is, you have people out there that have been doing this thing for years now.
Holding Owen Benjamin accountable is what they.
But you're not holding him accountable at all. You're just doing it on the internet, and it's not actually holding him accountable. That's the thing, is it's not actually holding him accountable. What it is doing is like waking people up to the bullshit that that guy says, but it isn't holding him accountable at all. The only person in real life that is holding him accountable is Adam. That's because it's a lawsuit, you know. If there was somebody, and if the what is it, the Reddit lawsuit goes through,
I don't disagree.
Members. Adam had been a frequent guest and a popular voice in the chat, and the records show a significant portion of the community abandoned the channel after the campaign began. In short, she traded an internal ally for external clicks, and the audience voted with their leave buttons.
Okay, so I'm going to kind of like stop it right there so we can talk a little bit about this. But I think like that basically gives everybody a good setup. And, you know, I really strongly encourage everybody to like watch the whole documentary, because it's really interesting to see, you know, some of the things that she said or was said about you, I would consider to be racial slurs.
Yeah.
You know, like cockroach and the, you know, the humiliation of like you eating the burrito and,
no, and
you know,
just today, now she changed my nickname to just Beaner.
Oh yeah.
She's just calling me. She's straight up calling me like the N word for Mexicans. Like, I'm like, this is a bad look, Liz. What are you doing?
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting that she flipped the way she did. And so can you just kind of expound? Like, I know you're saying things in the documentary, but why do you think that this is happening between where she just flipped a switch and went, now Adam's the bad guy and not Owen Benjamin?
Well, I mean, number one, I think she has severe mental problems. You know, she has no impulse control. She has anger issues, and she never got rehabbed. Like, if you're going to do heroin, I have a friend who did heroin for, I want to say 2 or 3 years. And that was like 20 years ago, but he still goes to meetings, because you have to like go through therapy to like not be a piece of shit. You know, you have to make amends with people. You have to change your behavior, you know, because in order to do that drug, you have to be a manipulative, lying, like just piece of garbage. It's very expensive. And, you know, yeah, I mean, you're just checked out. You're choosing yourself over everybody else. It's extremely selfish, you know, and not to mention like she has kids while she's doing it and having kids while she's doing it. It's insane. But Like number one is that there's a severe mental problem that, and I think you can see it because you always hear her voice and stuff, and it's, you know, it is pretty demonic and scary. But also too, just to see her video, you can see like those, like she does look mentally ill, the way she laughs and the way she moves and stuff. Like that's why it's like she will never stop. Like it's crazy how she will never stop. And fortunately for me, but unfortunately for the hoax crew, they're seeing it for the first time this week. Like after hoax, she turned on hoax and hoax apologized to me. They're in shock. We've been watching what she's saying. She called the police on hoax this week.
Really?
Yes.
Why?
She says it's because she had some kind of threat, but it's all bullshit. She pulled up something of like, she's saying that somebody checked on her tax records and she knows it's Teddy Spaghetti. And then she goes, and also too, there was a threat by Teddy Spaghetti under an alias in my chat. And he said something like, I'm coming to get you, but then he deleted it. And I didn't have time. But because of that, now I just called the police and I gave them all of Hoax's details. She goes, I wish I would have doxed you myself, Hoax. And then she goes, it's insane. And like, I'm watching this with all the Hoax crew in Nunya's chat and they're in shock. They can't. And I'm like, I told you guys, this is why I told the police I thought she had relapsed. It's insane. She heel turns so crazily. And she also too just admitted what we've been speculating and she's been denying for over a year, that she is working with Owen's lawyer. Like she said this week that she gave Owen's lawyer all of Hoax's details. She doxed Hoax to Owen's lawyer, and she's making up some bullshit that, oh, it's because I took all my videos off of my YouTube and they're only on Rumble, and Hoax locked me out, so I have to give Hoax's information to Owen's lawyer. So now you talk to Mr. Hackenfar, Hoax. So now she's roping in Hoax into my lawsuit too. And she's admitting to talking to Owen's lawyer since like, I think she said since like May or June, which we were saying, and she was like gaslighting and then denying it. It's insane.
I just blocked somebody. They said something kind of interesting for a moment, but it was about me. So
oh, okay.
Yeah, but I'm kind of just watching the chat. I don't really want to respond to anything that they're saying right now, but they're willing to say what they want, you know. So, but I am kind of moderating. I do have a moderator tonight, but they probably aren't. You know, like they know what to do, but they're not in the chat making themselves present. So, but there is someone watching like what's happening to kind of mandate it. So you think she flipped because she's just not mentally well. It is kind of interesting in terms of like who the people that she's associated with. You know, for example, I myself have been, you know, I would say harassed and cyber stalked and trolled by certain people. I don't know how long Blazin and Liz have been associated. I think like actually it seemed like right after we were on Sewer Town and, you know, they ambushed Sewer Town and they brought you up and that whole incident happened. And then Toffee Coco said what he said. They all kind of gathered over onto Liz's channel, and I thought that was the first time I saw Blazin in her chat for the first time. I could be wrong on that, but you know, it's just like, and obviously, like I know that you've made up with Hoax and everything. I mean, I've got my own feelings about him. I'm not gonna say that right now, but
no, and I was 100% on your side before that apology.
So, you know, you made peace with him. That's between you and Hoax. And you know, I think that it's a good thing, really, if people can, you know, just apologize or get over it or stop doing it, stop saying, stop being the attacker,
and take your stuff down. Like when he said he's deleted everything, I'm like, that's all I ever wanted. Like I'll do the same thing. I said it immediately, and isn't that a good thing for everybody? Like, you know what I mean? Wouldn't you like that if someone said that to you and they were like, you know, let's just take it all down and let's just stop.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think that it's kind of like a waste of like, what is the accomplishment of it really overall? Well, I mean, obviously, you know, when people are running like a defamation campaign on you and this and that, they're spreading lies about you and they're saying hateful things and they're, like again, Owen Benjamin, they're criticizing his comedy, but he, some of that's going to happen when you have a channel and this and that, but a lot of it, what's going on right now, I think is really, really over the top. And then you have Top Feed Coco and all this crew that kind of harasses other people on the other side. You got Thomas Schoenberger and all this stuff going on, right? They seem to be the same people. And I just, from the outside, for a person experiencing it from a different angle, and then, watching it and how it's overlapped into Owen, it's that conglomeration that I'm trying to figure out, well, where does this come from? Why do these people do this? Why did they join forces against Owen? And there was a Liz, right? And then now you have the flip against you is really interesting to me. And then the makeup with hoax is interesting to me. I think it's interesting to everybody.
Well, that happened. Like me and you were talking about doing this before that happened. That's why, like, I was like, I don't know, this is going to be interesting. With hoax, the apology, and like people are just fuming over that apology. Like they can't believe it's, knowing hoax, they just don't believe it's real. And I'm like, look,
I've gotten, it's not real. He's playing him. Adam's being naive. It's not going to happen. Like I've heard that argument too as well. I've seen it.
Yeah, I mean, it could be, but I'm sorry though. Like I don't see the negativity in people. I see the positive in people. You know what I mean? And if somebody comes to you and they say, I'm sincerely sorry, I was, and I'm going to take all the stuff down. What kind of man would I be if I said, fuck you? I would be like a telly. You know what I mean? Like he said, it's not good enough. And it's like, so what are we doing here? So you just always want to be in war. You always want to be in conflict. Okay, that's you, not me. Like I honestly, like Hoax and me had a good relationship before all this happened. As you can see, we had mutual respect. He respected what I did and I respected what he did because he was the one that had those channels that really like did compilations on Owen showing his hypocrisy. Liz never did that. Liz was a parasite. Liz used Hoax and then she used me. I went to her channel. She keeps saying, oh, Adam scraped my channel for donations for 11,000. And it's just not true. My donations that came in were the same people were watching my interviews on Covert Radio. Covert Radio was the one that got me those donations. I would come over to Liz's just to talk shit and have fun, and I brought her credibility because I would go up and she knows if I went up, I brought X-Bears with me to come in the chat and have fun. And I also was getting Owen's eyes on her because he had to watch it, So like, it's quite the opposite, but it's all about her. She thinks that she's the one. Now she's turning on Hoax. And it's like, you have no talent. You're a parasite. You have no creative abilities. You have no insight into anything anyone says. Like, why are you doing this? All she says about anything is, wow, just wow. Wow, spot on. Wow. Wow, that's wild. It's like, just stop. Like, but she's, even us talking about her right now, it's getting her off. You know what I mean? So that's why, like, when you said that you're going to bring this up, I'm like, that's kind of a buzzkill. Like, I was having so much fun talking about comedy and Owen, like,
right.
You know what I mean? And even like right now, when you show all the Liz stuff and then you go back, isn't seeing Owen like a breath of fresh air? Which is weird. It's like,
right. It is weird, right? It's like, when Owen was going, I went up there, I did my material, I know I'm good, I know you couldn't do it. I can kind of relate to that.
Yeah, he's got charisma. Like, when I always see, like, when he, even like when he's talking shit about me and stuff, sometimes I'm like, and that's what that guy Made by Jim Bob told me when Owen had just turned on me. He goes, dude, when he attacks you, he's gonna say things that are gonna make you want to kill him, and he's gonna say things that are gonna make you want to chuckle. It's gonna be really hard, dude. And I'm like, and that's what happened. Like, he's still, as he's destroying you, he's still like, he's got such charisma.
Yeah, he does. And he's
I
a
know.
very likable person, and
Yeah.
you know, and he's funny, and you know, funny is a superpower. It's a
It is.
superpower. And
You know.
you know, I've never, you know, watching all the footage and looking at him, I've never seen anybody like him. At the same time, I'm kind of scared of like what he is.
Right.
Right?
Yeah,
Like I'm
because
like,
he's like using it for evil. Like it's really he that's the
well,
thing. Like
he's not perfect. You know, I'd say he's not a
well,
perfect man in what he's doing.
yeah,
Yeah.
by far.
Well, who is perfect? But
Yeah,
like
but
there's that element of like,
still.
this could go crazy. Like I thought about a script, right, about a guy who does this, and then how like eventually how he slips and rolls out of you know, control.
Yeah.
And it's sort of based on it, but if you were to do fiction, you would make it even more dramatic, right?
Right. No, but if you were to watch the streams, you would be in shock. You know, like the stuff that he said and the things he's done. Like last year, he did a debate with a guy named Curtis Stone, who was a real homesteader, like YouTuber. And Owen would kind of like, you know, he'd bring him on just to get some of his audience in the homesteading audience. And that guy's wife just died of cancer in March. And Owen started talking shit about saying, like, insinuating that he killed his wife. And just, it was the most disgusting thing I've ever seen. So, like, when they try to say that, oh, it's, you know, with the countersuit, oh, it's because Adam's defaming him, that's why he's got lost. It's like, no, dude, you are a despicable human being. And people can see that. Like going after a guy whose wife just died of cancer, the mother of his small children. Like that, it was so heartless and just so disgusting.
So what do you, I mean, in terms of like, I mean, okay, let's say, you know, we've got hoax coming out and you know, I think like it feels like people like Eon Will and stuff like that, like they're kind of like lost.
Yeah, he is. Poor
You know what
guy.
I mean? It's like we don't know who to be a part of anymore. We don't know like, you know, who's who in the zoo, and you know, like it feels like the whole hoax thing kind of like took the wind out of the sails in a way.
Yeah. Well, it's
Like,
almost
it's
like it's almost like where
yeah.
well,
I'm
that
sorry,
like they go after a cartel and they kill the leader, and it's just fucking mayhem for a while, you know.
Yeah.
It is like that. Where like there's some people like you know, Johnny's List, Gamma Rama, Pandora, that have all left Liz, and they're just like seeing it and they're in shock. But then yeah, you have like Coco and Eon Will that they're kind of like on the fence, you know. And I was trying, like I went up with them and I kept saying like, you know, Telly's grilling me about me calling the cops on Liz, and I'm like, but Liz called the cops on hoax this week. Why are you guys grilling me so hard about something that happened a year ago? This just happened this week. This is your guy. Like, what do you guys? And they're ignoring the elephant in the room. And it's
Well,
like,
I mean, I see like a certain hypocrisy. Like they'll like a lot of the people will in this group they'll persecute you for doing what they've done like 10 times.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
So you know, you're the bad guy. You're the bad guy, not me. I never did anything. And there's no self-reflection or accountability for what they did too as well.
Yeah, I see that totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a bummer. You know, it's just so stupid. And it's all the common denominator is Liz. I'm sorry to say, we were doing good. Like we got to a point where there was a full anti-Owen Benjamin community. It wasn't just the subreddit, but it was also Covert Radio was making the best, like high level introspective pieces about Owen Benjamin, exposing him. I was part of that. Then there was a guy named Texas Goat Radio, and he would do every day, he would break down Owen's streams into like 20 pieces and give his perspective, which was really good. Then there was Liz with Hoax, you know, and it was like we were all kind of working together to a certain point, and she destroyed all of it. She face doxed Texas Goat Radio on her channel. He was anonymous, scared him off. Then she doxed Covert Radio. Nobody knew his name. She doxed him, got him tied up in my lawsuit, doxed his wife and kids, and now he's gone. So there's like there's nobody going. And then she totally turned, and now she's working with Owen's lawyer, and she's also like pro Owen now. She's like, oh, Owen's not a bad guy. Owen taught me to see pattern recognition. It's insane. Like it's so obvious if you have half a brain what she did, and now she's admitting to working with Owen's lawyer. So it's like, what else is there to ponder?
I want to discuss too about how, okay, so there's this predator catcher group, and a lot of these people have been around each other for a long time, including Hoax and some of the other players. I see like Kelly has shown up, and you mentioned Johnny's List, and it's a whole like group of people. There is and again, Will and Eon Will and those people are in it. And then you branch out to some other players that Becky's part of it. I mean, Blazing Scar, they've been in these groups around each other for a really long time. Urban Disciple is an offshoot. And I just find it interesting that they are part of that pie, because wasn't one of the things that he said to you was like, I'm a person who's looking for pedos and stuff like that. And so I got confused, or I didn't, I don't know if I'm saying this right, or if I saw
he said that Liz played on his emotions by saying that, oh darn, wrote something pedophilic in the chat, which is like, I mean, that's the same thing she's saying right now to rope Hoax into all this. Is she saying what happened with oh darn, that guy, the drunk guy on there, is that she claims that he wrote something pedophilic in the chat and she didn't have time to screenshot it, and there's no record of it, but that was the catalyst to go after me and destroy everything. Now she's doing the same thing, saying that Teddy Spaghetti wrote something and deleted it. She had no chance to get the screenshot, and that's the catalyst. It's the same exact playbook. But yeah, I mean, that's the thing because Hoax did get involved in all that stuff. And he was actually like, he uncovered a guy apparently named Edward Stairs, who had like porn on his phone. And he got to know all those people. And so he was part of that whole thing. And I think he still is. And, there was a guy yesterday, we were on, I think it was on Anthony Cruz's. And there's a guy, I think it was Colorado Pred Patrol. And he came into the chat. Everybody's like, hey, how's it going? He had just caught a pedophile. He caught a dude that was like fucking his. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
He was his 9-year-old sister, and he said to the guy. He said to the decoy, "Oh, are you pissed? Are you pissed that it was my sister?" Like he actually is doing the work, which is a great thing. Like there's some people that are really catching these people, and I think it's amazing. Like my hat's off to these guys. And then Liz is calling them pedophiles. She starts saying that's a pred community. She's calling them pedophiles. She's calling them criminals when it's the opposite. Like these people are actually doing something good, in my opinion.
Well, I have trouble respecting them because they've called me a pedophile, and I'm not. And it's a really horrible thing to be called. It's like the new communism, like it's like you're being right, and it's done maliciously. It's done with no facts, and personally, I'm tired of it. And so when you talk about a group of people that say we're pred catchers, but what I really see most of the time is they're just calling each other pedophiles, and they're just smearing each other, saying you're a pedophile, you're this, you're that, blah 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 blah. And like my feeling is like, well, what does this do for finding any predators? Like, this is just the distraction. This is just a clown show. This makes like the whole topic look stupid, because you got a bunch of people just screaming at each other and accusing each other of these things. And I think that on my side, like how I understand Hoax is his association to Thomas Schoenberger, but it's a whole different show. But so I kind of have like a different, view on this. But, do you think that there's a way that we can eventually stop this and have some sort of peace and have some of this like just actually be done with? I mean, you should be left alone. People want to support you, or they like, I love talking to you. I loved hearing, about your story. I'm interested in what you've done. I'm interested in documentary filmmaking. I think what you've covered is really, your footage is really dynamic. and then again, you know, there's this other thing happening. Do you think there's a way that this can come to an end? You can be left alone and just deal with your own, you know, and maybe even me, like maybe like I don't have to live with this anymore.
Yeah,
like,
well,
like as a community, can we just get over this stuff?
Well, I think on the first point with the Fred catcher community, I think that there are people that do that. They just are calling each other pedophiles, but there are other people that are actually doing the work. So I don't think it's all good or all bad, you know, like in any group. But as far as like peace, I saw the most peace I've ever seen for a whole year this week with Hoax. And if he can do that for me and like say I was wrong, I mean, I hope other people can do the same thing, you know, because he took down all of his stuff. I took down mine. I still have to do more on my YouTube, but I took down the Reddit. Anything regarding him, that was mine. Other people's stuff, I don't know. I'm going to ask them if they want to take it down. But as far as, and then also Pandora, which was Liz's right-hand woman in all of this against me. She just gave me a public apology on Reddit. And that is huge. I took all her stuff down, you know, and she also said the same as Hoax. Liz is a liar. You know? So it's like, it's basically like the walls are closing in on Liz and her lies. And it's just time will tell. It just takes people being persistent like I was and just like making sure to document everything that she's been doing and just have faith, you know, and just keep going strong. And hopefully one day they will turn another leaf. But like I said, there is mental illness out there, you know, and like I saw it today with Blazin. Blazin is like the American Liz. It's crazy. Like I went on her platform and I was talking to her and then Telly came on and he started being a prick. So I told him we could do with that. And then she was saying to me, oh, then, you know, you can't go after me for being friends with Liz. I'm like, I'm not. And she's like, okay, everything was fine. And then I was in the chat with at Anthony's and they were playing the stuff with her and Liz. And all I said was, I said two things. I said, they have the same laugh. And I think I said one more thing that was schizograms are a problem. I said those two things. And she fired up her live stream, put my full name in the title, and just went off on me and started calling me a bitch, this. And I'm like, this lady is crazy. Like Blazin is fucking crazy, just like Liz. And I think that's what I mean. Like those two bad apples can make a lot of destruction, you know, and they could make, you know, they could burn it all down, which is unfortunate, you know. I mean, I don't know anything about the catcher stuff. Like I told them, I'm only here just to because Liz won't shut up about me to everybody, everywhere she goes, you know. And, you know, but I was impressed with that guy that came in the chat yesterday and like had just done a real catch. You know, I think that's an awesome thing to be doing.
I think I might have accidentally, you know, blocked Geo in the chat, but I'm not sure if it was him because, like, when I look at his, you know, page, I don't see that it's him, so I don't know what to say. Maybe that was somebody pretending to be him.
Baba Yaga Waffen.
But yeah, Baba Yaga Waffen. That's like Geo. I
think Waffen means soldier.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Your full name is in this title. I don't know why that means anything. Okay, I gotta stop.
It's Telly. He's petty. He's just a, you know.
Okay, I get it. It's yeah. I'm gonna ignore it. Okay, so what are your future plans? What do you see in the future for yourself in terms of documentary filmmaking, and like where are you at now in your life?
I would like to keep doing this. Like making documentaries was a new thing for me. Like I was more of a technician in Hollywood, you know, but I did go to film school for cinematography and I actually won the cinematography award of all the state schools at the media festival, you know, so I was accomplished. And so that's where my heart is at, is actually in filmmaking. So I really appreciated the chance to make that documentary with Owen and all of them, and then with Ye. I would like to just continue to learn and to use AI, you know, and try to really just make a story that flows. I love telling stories. I love photography. I have a photography company. I do real estate photography. You know, I have a drone pilot's license with the FAA. You know, and that's basically what's keeping me going. You know, and yeah, I'll just keep doing it. I would love to put all this behind me. When this lawsuit's over, it's going to be a relief. You know, I just want to move on. You know, like, but I'm stuck in this thing, and he knows that. He's just trying to bleed me, and he's playing all these lawfare games, and you know, it should have been over a long time ago. But yeah, once that's over, I can really, really, really focus. But you know,
Do
I've
you
been focusing pretty.
you can like, I mean, like I see that the documentary is on your website, but is there a possibility of actually getting it picked up, let's say on Netflix as a series, or to like redo it with current stuff that's happening today? Like it feels like you've got a lot of footage and you have the episodes, but it's like the story continues.
Oh yeah.
Is
Well,
that if the lawsuit gets done, is that on the table at all, or you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, I would love to. There's been different propositions, you know, from different people that I've talked to, but it's got to be the right one, you know. And I have to be able to get a producer's role on it. You know, I don't want to just give up the footage. You know, that's one thing. You know, that's one thing that Owen is dying to have is the footage. You know, so yeah, I mean, I would love to do that. I would love to get this to go. That's why I keep creating. Like I keep creating, and I just want this to get out there to see if somebody bigger will pick it up, because I don't have those kind of connections. You know, I didn't go to parties. You know, I've never been to a Diddy party. So
Yeah,
you know,
me neither.
you almost went to a Voss party though.
Yeah, well, you know, that's a whole different, you know, kind of party.
But my connections were with technicians. You know, it's like that's how I got my jobs. It wasn't with the actual producers, you know, or the what do you call it, the agents and stuff like that. So you know, that's above the line stuff that I was never a part of. So I don't have those connections. Like when everyone's trying to say, "Oh, if he has all these connections, why isn't he working on?" It's like because I didn't. Like, you know, I was just put in these positions, and I did the best I could.
Well, I just, you know, found your the you know, the videos and the episodes, or you know, the different parts of the documentary to just it's like I couldn't get enough of it. And I found culturally, I was very fascinated by it. And I guess because also Owen Benjamin and him being a comedian, and my little brush with him myself, and the, you know, Joey Diaz, like I know Joey Diaz, you know, and the Pop Brownie, all of it was just so interesting. And the times that we lived in during that times, what was happening politically, what made us shift. A bunch of artists were shifting. There was this sort of like, well, you can't be right-wing and be in Hollywood. You can't express what you really think on YouTube, or, you know, you can't express, well, definitely because they'll take your channel down, but you can't express what you think like on Facebook.
Yeah.
Like I had all these fights with people that I knew for many years. And, you know, and then when Trump got reelected again, I'm like, I'm not doing that again.
Yeah.
Like I'm not, and it goes into a race war, and you know, it just there's so much to it, and you have these, you know, personalities like Owen Benjamin out there, you know, who had a certain amount of influence, and you know, there were so many people that said, oh, you know, the moon landing didn't really happen, or flat earth, like there were these varying degrees of beliefs that people had that followed Owen.
Right.
And I find that interesting too.
Oh no, he tapped into all these different markets. He knew that. He knew what he was doing. He went over to the flat earth market, you know, he went over to the homesteading market, you know, he went over to like the new agey type stuff. Yeah, he's always trying to tap into all these different markets to siphon off their people and to buy himself land, to put it in his own name. I mean, that was one of the big things that really just I realized was that it was a scam, was the fact that when I heard Curtis Stone, who's the real homesteader, who's actually done these kind of land projects, he's like, you don't put it in your own name, you put it in like a trust with a board of trustees, so you could be held accountable. And Owen was putting it's all in his name. He's got over 100 acres in the Ozarks. He's got you know, the 10 acres up there in Idaho, and then he's got his own 10 acres. But like,
Owen is doing well now, thank God. Liz
she keeps
says.
she's exposing her. She's such a moron. Like it's like
it's like a total flip.
Yeah.
You know? Praise God for Owen. You know, he's my hero. It's like that's the problem with a lot of these people. A lot of people that are in this community, they flip flop back and forth. Like it didn't matter what I said yesterday. Didn't matter who I hated yesterday. I love them today, and now I hate you. It's like, oh my God, please.
Well, I kind of just did that. I kind of did. I gotta admit, but it's, you know, it's definitely like a tactical move, you know, because and I did appreciate it. You know, I really appreciate it, but you know, I've been at war for so long that it's like, dude, if I could get Hoax Wars on my side, like he is such a great creator. Like he's such a good editor. Like we wanted to work together like against Owen Benjamin since the beginning. So it's like, dude, what could we possibly do? I mean, I could just be dreaming, but like I really, you know, I look forward to this year. I look forward to what's going to happen, you know?
Well, I didn't know he's a great editor. I mean, you have a totally different feeling than I do about Hoax, but you know, I'm not gonna. You know, hey, if it's working for you, it's good. You know what I mean? It's like, hey, you know, maybe I don't know. You know, I don't know everything. I don't really want to bash on him. Like, you know, I don't want to upset like that piece and whatever liaison you have with him.
I'm sorry. Yeah,
I'm not. You're like, hey, you know.
I know. It's crazy. It's just,
but yeah,
I can't believe I'm complimenting Hoax either. I'm sorry.
I know, right? It's like
it's insane. It's all crazy.
But hey, it is what it is, and you know, if that you're making peace with him makes your lawsuit better, and you see value in it, and you accept his apology, that's between you and him. Yeah. And you know, the other people and the other things that are going on, hey, you know, let them react the way they're going to react. It's not going to really change anything, right?
Right.
I mean, you know, so they might go on somebody else's channel. It might go on Blazin, or maybe like Jesse will let Liz go up and say whatever she's going to say, and Top Feed Coco will be there. But in the end, it really doesn't make that much difference.
Right. I mean, I am saying right now, I will never talk to Telly again. You know, like I talked to him, I gave him my time, I gave him my answers. He doesn't deserve them. Like he's not like an interviewer. And he said, I told him, like, dude, I said, you're a horrible interviewer. You're so biased. You're so cunty. Like that's not I interview for my documentaries. You're supposed to be like the way you are right now, professional, journalistic. You don't take a side. It's like, but you're impartial. He's got none of that. It's like, dude,
well, I try to be.
No, you are.
But
but you try. Well, now that you're a journalist, like I could see. That's why I came on, because I can see what you're doing. Like you're making that transition into real journalism, and I'm like, yeah, I definitely want to go on and talk to her.
Well, I appreciate it. Putting this, you know, this together. You know, I spent a lot of time. Like it mattered to me, and you know, everything. And I even got a song which I'm going to play again. So I think like we're about like 2 hours and 12 minutes. I don't like to go like too long. Yeah, but you know,
I gotta go eat. I gotta go eat.
Right, that's how I feel too. Like I'm like, you know, I need a snack. But I really do appreciate you coming onto the show and being here, and you know, sharing your thoughts and ideas. And so one of the things I want to share is when people talk about online movements, they usually focus on the personality at the center. But what happens? What happens to the people who document them? And that's what we covered today. What happens when a filmmaker enters a community believing they're capturing a story and leaves realizing they were a part of it? Gee, I think like I kind of screwed up there.
That's your final
I'm like, you know, I actually put a teleprompter on this.
Oh, nice.
Right. And so for some reason it's like repeating from like the beginning. I haven't really mastered StreamYard yet, but there's like a note section where you can actually put in your opening and your closing and
that's cool.
You know, what you want to say. And so I'm just kind of rambling until I get to my ending because I really want to go full circle on what I put together today. Yeah. It's kind of, in a way, it's me practicing, you know, putting things together. And by the way, somebody said she doesn't know anything about AI. Well, I do actually know a lot about AI because I was a reporter for AI for the Collegian. So, you know, and AI helped me put the show together, to be honest with everybody. And so that's another thing that happened here as well. So, since the documentary story has an ending, in fact, it's evolved through public apologies, online feuds, new documentaries, and renewed scrutiny of the people still shaping the narrative. This conversation today wasn't about telling you what to think. It's about media literacy. It's about power dynamics in online communities. And it's about what responsibility, if any, do creators and documentarians have when belief systems turn into movements. So basically what we did today was have Adam on the show, get that feedback, kind of explore these topics today. And because, you know, stories like this don't really end. They don't. They just change platforms. What makes Beartaria and the larger ecosystem around it so compelling isn't just the personalities involved. It's what it tells us about how belief, loyalty, and identity form online. And so I want to thank everybody for being here today. I'm going to close out with my song I created specifically for this. I played it earlier today, but since we have more people here, here is the song that goes along with this episode. Thanks again, Adam, for being here.
Thank you.
And anybody who is listening, you know, and you like the show, please do like and share with your friends. Get this information out there and like and subscribe to Not My Rabbit Hole. I'll see you next time.
There was land on the edge of nowhere, and a voice on a glowing screen said, build it outside the system, said, this is what freedom means. They came with hope in their pockets and stories they wanted to prove. A crowd that feel like a family when everyone believes the same truth. So they called it the community, they called it a stand, but a vision gets heavy when it's held in one hand. Welcome to Beartaria, where dream meets the ground, where the words sound louder than the silence around. You don't see the fault lines till the camera rolls back. This ain't the promise they sold you, but it's the story after the act. There were bears in the comments, there were rules without names. Loyalty felt like shelter till it started to feel the same. Every joke had a lesson, every line had a side, and if you laughed at the wrong moment, you were standing outside. Who decides what's betrayal? Who decides what's the test? When a movement calls itself truth, what happens to the rest? This is Beartaria. After the stream fades out, after the leaf stays quiet and the believers sort it out. You don't leave with nothing, you don't leave unchanged. This ain't the myth they handed you, it's what remains.